Another Kell on the show.
Good evening and welcome to another fun-packed, adventure-filled Paranormal Versus. Well, I haven't been here for a little while, so just bear with me. As usual, I'm here with my amazing co-host, Michael Kopf from the USA, and our newbie, Matt Atkinson. See, Matt, I can say the name properly now.
Hey. Yeah.
So we'd just like to say hello and thank you for obviously sticking around, because obviously we had another week off. So yeah, we've had loads going on and we've had an interesting time since we last spoke to you guys. So just to let you know a little bit of what went on, me and Matt got asked to do co-host a night for the Ancient Ram. And yeah, so we did that, and it was the first time we investigated it, and it was absolutely amazing. Yeah. The only thing was my camera decided to fail on us. So basically, everything that happened, I didn't get it on camera. All I can suggest is if you ever go to the Ancient Ram, go to the Bishop's Room, sit there and listen and see what you feel. It is absolutely amazing. And we've got some other investigations coming up as well. So
yeah.
So that's enough about us anyway, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing good. I been dealing with a few things myself and just kind of learning to take it day by day and finding balance with everything.
Yeah, why not? So, Matt, what you been up to?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know.
I know all sorts of things. Mostly getting this place sorted out because I've got to pack it all up, pack the studio away, and I'll be moving.
We were commenting earlier, Kell. He has a window now.
Yeah.
I know. I'm shocked. I didn't even see that when I went there last. It's like, wow, it looks empty.
I know.
You could fit a full family in that room.
You probably could. Yeah, it's getting there, slowly but surely. So I've been doing this. We've been doing a few other things, which we won't really go into, we won't go into depth. But yeah, Ken and me have been getting a few things sorted out. So yeah, that's really taken up my last few weeks, really. So I've been busy doing this.
I'm proud to say all of our shows are growing, and we're getting a lot of cool content and guests coming to us, and we're finding them. So yeah, I'm like a kind of blissful high of seeing how popular the shows are doing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mm.
So anyway, without further ado, we've got a guest on this week called Neil Warden, and on YouTube he's known as the Castle Dude. Goes to different castles and he's interested in the paranormal, caught some interesting stuff. So we're going to find out what he's got to say. Hello.
Yes, hello. Hi everybody.
Hi.
Thank you for having me on. You're the only channel that will.
So thank you.
We are thanking you for coming on.
In real life, I'm actually quite a popular guy, so you know, it's only the paranormal world that don't like me. But no, I'm really joking. But seriously, guys, thank you, Michael, for reaching out and asking me, and Kell and Matt. It's a pleasure to meet you. So hello and thank you.
Yes, and for those of you watching, it was funny because I had done a show with Heidi Pop, and Neil was on her show, but he was walking around doing a walkthrough of a castle, and I was like watching it, and he was so funny and sharing such great history of the place. I was like, man, he would be a perfect guest for us. I didn't even know some of his paranormal background, so that was like a cool bonus for us. So I am truly welcomed and grateful to have Neil on.
But yeah, cheers.
Cool. Yeah.
So, Neil, can you tell a bit about some of your experiences and what you do exactly?
Yeah, sure. I mean, at the moment, just in case anyone doesn't know who I am, on YouTube I'm at Castle Dude. I don't make any money from it yet, but you know, I probably will go viral because I am that good.
Yeah.
And he's humble too.
Honestly, it's something I do in my spare time on the weekends. I just look on the map, I'll pick like a castle or a historical place, and I'll go and visit it and then do a walk and talk video, sharing the knowledge and my passion for history. I'll do some research, see if there's any paranormal ghost stories, which in castles, you know, I've not been to a castle and it hasn't got a ghost story connected to it. So there's always a grey lady or a white lady or a monk or a nun. I was recently at White Lady's Priory a couple of weeks ago, which is an abandoned, sort of disused, ruined nunnery. And interestingly about that one, the nuns are usually in black with the white headdress. But these nuns were called White Ladies because they were all in white. And there was only 6 nuns present at that place. And I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it was almost a nun's prison. Oh. So if you'd been a naughty nun, you would get sent there because they lived in complete poverty, the basic of most basic food, and they literally weren't allowed out. And it was so bad that the nuns were always trying to escape. And there was a local farmer that would always keep watch, and he would chase after the nuns and take them back. So
wow.
Can you picture the scene? A nun dressed all in white running across the farmer's field with the farmer chasing after. You know, it's kind of like the Benny Hill show, really, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what a naughty or bad nun would be doing to get like put in a nun's jail.
Stories connected with White Ladies. They were escaping and going off into the town and actually going to the local tavern and having a drink, and so that's a big no-no for a nun. Yeah. Or even just talking to members of the public, you know, being seen outside of the nunnery for anything other than official business was deemed like, you know, a sin or whatever. Wow. And that place is incredibly haunted. It's renowned in the local area. And during the summer months, youngsters always go there and hang out at night. Because the White Lady nuns have been seen literally in broad daylight roaming around. I didn't see anything on the last occasion that I was there, but the first time I went, it was complete pitch dark, and you have to park. It's in the middle of the countryside. You have to park your car on a country lane, and then walk through some woods down a track, and then you're presented with a field. And the ruins of a nunnery in front of you, a priory. And when I just got through the gate and was making my way down this track, and I heard a woman's laughter, like behind me. not in the direction of the nunnery, but behind me back towards the road. And I turned around and I was on my own. And I've got to be honest, like, it panicked me that much that I nearly thought, I'm not doing this. You know, it's too dangerous, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I instinctively thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a YouTube live so I'm not on my own. And then I just hit the live and then I went and carried on. I did do some calling out. I did do some, you know, saying, hello, my name's Neil, I'm very respectful, etc. I'm got an interest in history, in the paranormal, ghosts. If there's anyone here, please make yourself known. Make a sound, talk into the device I'm holding. I did all the normal stuff, but I didn't get anything. Back then I was such a novice. I couldn't even operate the light on my phone. And I didn't have a torch with me. So it took somebody in the chat to tell me how to turn the light on my phone. And so I figured it out eventually. But the first 10 minutes of that clip is complete darkness. And then the lights come on. So yeah, that was White Ladies Priory. I will be going back there because it's so interesting. And just to go on from that, literally probably about 2 miles across the fields as the crow flies, there is Lilleshall Abbey, which is bigger, and that's where the monks lived, Benedictine monks from, I'm pretty sure it was from like the 900s or the 1000s. So you're talking around William the Conqueror time. And there was, that's so famous. There was, the local paper's called the Shropshire Star. I live in Shropshire and that is the local paper. There was a photographer there just taking pictures in broad daylight of the ruins because, you know, the windows are huge. You know, it's really impressive. He went back, he developed them. It wasn't a digital sort of process back then. It was the old dark room stuff. Mm-hmm. And when he developed them, literally in front of them was a monk standing there in front of the wall, clear as day. And it shocked him so much. And it was printed. That picture was printed in the Shropshire Star, so you could possibly find it. And it's quite a famous thing. I've never seen anything there. But again, I've been there so many times, like in my youth, when I was 17, when we first learned to drive. We would always go as mates. We would always go there, you know, kind of hang out, you know, have a laugh, see if there was anything. And there was an interior section which is completely pitch black. And yeah, that gave you the creepy, spooky vibes, you know. So that's another cool place that I will be returning. I haven't done that as Castle Dude, but I keep meaning to. So I might be headed there this weekend because it's literally down the road.
So I'm kind of curious, Neil, what's the origin story of the name Castle Dude and your channel?
Yeah, well, Castle Dude, actually, because, I mean, my channel was just Neil Warden with some numbers that, you know, the default thing that YouTube gives you. And I was just a fan. I think I started it pretty much maybe a couple of years ago. And then I began sort of on my journey of the paranormal with Journey to Truth. I don't know if you've heard of that podcast.
Yeah.
Started watching then. And then I got on to people like the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, Spaced Out Radio, which is like brilliant. Heidi Pop, which I met from being interviewed on those shows as well. And you mentioned Heidi Pop at the start of the channel, the stream rather. I don't know why, but when I started watching her, nobody else watched her channel. It was like nobody would even like it or comment on it, and I was like, why not? You know what she's saying really positive, helpful stuff. And I've put her advice into practice in my life, and it's changed for the good immeasurably. And, you know, so I used to hit the like on every single video that she put out, you know, even if it was a little short. or, you know, whatever it was, and I'd put a comment on every single one. And this was going on for ages and ages. And yeah, we've struck up a friendship. We've connected on Facebook, and she lives on the other side of the world in Los Angeles. I'm over here, and that's the beauty. That's the good side of social media. You know, it's connecting people around the world. Like, it's connecting us here tonight. You know, we all live in different parts of the country and the world, and we've never met in person before. But this is the beauty and the positive side of social media. And the name Castle Dude, to answer the question, because I do go on a bit of a meander. That was actually in one of the chats on, I don't know if you've heard of Long Island Bigfoot.
I have.
Mike, yeah. He called, because I was interested in castles and stuff, and I would always talk about castles and the history of them in the chats. He called me Castle Dude, and I thought, that's got a nice ring to it. So I searched the @ handle Castle Dude, and nobody had it. So I was like, I'm having that. So I swapped my name to Castle Dude, and then I thought, well, I've got to make some videos now, and I cracked on with it, yeah, and here I am today. I haven't got, you know, I'm not a monster content creator by any means. I'll probably do one a week, if that. But yeah, I just love it. I do it because it's fun. I enjoy it, and I enjoy the social aspect of it as well.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what would you say is got to be the most memorable experience you've ever had while doing that?
I'd say the most memorable thing that I've caught on camera is at Morton Corbett Castle, which is a cursed castle. Basically, the story goes behind that. There was a Puritan. He got kicked out of the castle. He apparently lived in the woods for 2 weeks, basically eating and drinking whatever he could find. And he had enough. He went back to the castle for refuge. The lord of the castle refused him entry, and this guy put a curse on the castle, and he said, this castle will never be finished, you know, built and completed, and each of the male heirs will suffer great tragedy. And shortly after that, the lord and his son, they moved out. But everybody, each male heir for about 3 generations had either a tragic illness and died, or an accident, you know, some kind of tragic accident where they died. So I was there completely on my own one Sunday morning. It was freezing cold. There was frost on the ground, and I thought, it's ideal conditions. I'll be on my own, so I can go and do a walking talk video around the castle. And just as I was walking around an interior section, which would have been the kitchen to the Great Hall, behind me in the window is, you can just see, it's like just a head, and it bobs down behind the windows if it's like checking what I'm doing. I didn't feel anything at the time. It was only literally, I didn't even know it was on the video. It was somebody who watched it, one of the people I know from Spaced Out Radio. He put the time, he says, Neil, you need to check this time, take a look and tell me what you see. And I looked at it, and when I saw it for the first time, like, I had the chills. I was like, whoa. And I was so excited. I was messaging people saying, look, I've caught a ghost. And everyone was looking, and no one seemed as excited about it as I did. I was like, why is everybody? But if you look on my channel and you see on my shorts, it must have had about 3,000 views where, you know, it's like blown up. So people have looked at it. And yeah, I mean, to the skeptic would say it was just a person, you know, skulking about. And I can't 100% say that it wasn't, because at the time I didn't go around the wall or put my camera over the wall, because I didn't know if anything was there. But what I will say is, literally seconds before that, I was looking in the exact same spot. I was walking towards that window, and then I turned my back on it to go down the stairs. And I would have known if there was a bloke or somebody there, you know, like crouching behind the wall. I didn't sense anything at the time. So that's probably the spookiest thing that I've kind of witnessed there. I've heard that, like I said, the woman's laughter. That was probably the scariest thing that made me like want to leave. But I mean, most of the time it's just me having fun, talking about history, looking at amazing sort of ruins and exploring, speaking to the great volunteers and staff that work at these places who've got a wealth of knowledge, and they sort of give me some pointers which then I can then talk about in my video and sound clever and informed when really I'm not. But I just love it. I really do. Yeah.
Well, and I love how not only do you do castles, but you'll go to like Tudor homes or other historic places. And so I love how you're keeping the history alive.
Yeah, and I think that's important as well, because most of these castles that I go to, they're just there. They're there all the time. Like thousands of people pass them every day, and they don't even think about them. And you think these castles are like over 1,000 years old. Think of all the stories they could tell, you know, if those walls could talk. And like when you go there, that's the sense that you get. You can really sense the history and the energy. And I tell the little bits of knowledge that I've picked up over my lifetime. And it's kind of me. That's what another YouTuber who does a similar thing to me said. That's the most important thing, is talking about the history and just passing it on to say, I do it in a way that is fun and light-hearted, and it's not like the History Channel or a documentary, which is pretty heavy, and people might get a bit bored of that. I do it in a light-hearted way and have a laugh and a joke as well. And oftentimes the joke's on me, but that's kind of who I am, you know.
Cool. So how old were you when you first got into the whole sort of castle thing?
Oh wow, I would have been a kid, and we probably the biggest one with castles was a holiday. We went to Ashington in Northumberland, and we went to a caravan park there. And then we just travelled around. We went to Bamburgh Castle, which I was just completely blown away by, you know, standing on the cliff. We went around the castle, went in the dungeons. I could have only been around like 9 or 10 years old. And I was just blown away. And then after then, I was telling my mum and dad, take me to another castle. They were like, next day, what do you want to do? I'm like, let's go to another castle. So they took us to Wannick Castle, and that was incredible as well. And every time we were driving around, and I'd see a brand sign for a castle, I was like, oh, can we go to that one? And they were like, my brother's like, no, we're not going to another castle. So I was hooked from then. And then at school, probably my most memorable school trip was when we went to the Battle of Bosworth Field. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, I'm desperate to go there.
That is, I've actually went there as castle dude and I did a double header. I went there first, and then I completed the journey, and I went to Leicester Cathedral to see the tomb of King Richard III.
Wow.
And that was probably like, that was kind of breathtaking to see that, to be honest. But I went there again. I was in primary school, so you're talking less than 11 or younger, really. And there was a bit at the start of the tour. We got to for anyone that doesn't know, Battle of Bosworth Field is 1485. It was Richard III who was on the throne, and Henry Tudor was challenging him for the throne, and Henry Tudor won. He became Henry VII, and that was the last battle and the last monarch to die on the battlefield. All the other subsequent battles, the king or monarch wasn't involved. It was either done at sea or they weren't even present there. And it also, 1485 signified the end of the medieval period, and then it was the Tudor period. So that is for people that don't know, the medieval period is 1066. That's William the Conqueror to 1485. That is the medieval period. Prior to that, you're talking about the Dark Ages, Anglo-Saxons. Then after that, you've got the Tudors and the Stuarts, and then onwards. But I was going back to the school trip. The tour guide, we gathered us all around there at the top of the hill, and he says, "Put your hands up if you want Henry to win." And virtually the whole class put their hands up. And then he goes, "Put your hands up if you want Richard to win." Me and two others put their hands up, so there was like 3. And then he goes, "Well, Henry won." And as soon as he said that, I had a jolt of energy go through me, and like I was like, "What is that?" It was weird. That's the first, like, that's happened to me probably another 2 times in my life, but that was very strange for me. And then I don't know. I was just like enthralled and sort of transfixed in learning about King Richard III and the battle and everything surrounding it. It's quite complex. There's a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of underhand deals, backroom deals, so to speak, that swayed the battle as well. And when I went back there, this is probably literally, it was earlier this year. It was incredible to go back there as an adult, because that was the first time I've been back there, and I got the same feelings when I walked onto the battlefield in the same spot on the hill where I had that feeling. I got all the tingly chills and everything, and I don't know what it means. I don't know if I'm connected to it. I know that maybe I've lived previous lives in the medieval period, and that's why I love castles. That's why I've got an affinity to them. Yeah, and I wandered, did a walk and talk video around the whole site. I spoke to the staff there. I explained that I'm a YouTuber and this is what I do. And it was one of the staff actually that said to me, "Why don't you go and visit King Richard III's tomb?" Because that was, I don't know if you remember when it got, they held a ceremony for that. That was actually 2014.
Wow.
So that was 10 years ago. And I was like, was that really 10 years ago? It was on Channel 4. They did a live ceremony. It was a big proper, as if it was, for a king.
Yeah.
And I went there, and I remember there was a guy that I bumped into as soon as I went in. I asked one of the volunteers, I said, "Look, I'm going to do some film." And he said, "Just don't film any members of the public because it might get a bit funny." And I said, "I don't do that anyway, And there was an actor, he was a Shakespearean actor. He'd just done Romeo and Juliet, and he was just, packing down and everything. He could see that I was filming, so he asked me what I was doing. I said, I've just been to Bosworth Field, and I've come here to complete the circle and finish the journey and come and see the tomb for the first time." And he was telling me all the little details and why the tomb's a certain shape and the different angles, the stone used, everything that they did for that tomb and burial had a meaning to it connected to Richard III. So, yeah, you can see that on the videos. And I've got to say as well, what an absolutely fascinating city Leicester is. The architecture, the history, not just the cathedral, but the surrounding city centre as well. I've never been there before, and I will be going back there, and I will go back to the Leicester Cathedral too, because it is. I don't know. I must have some kind of connection to that place. You know, I'm not one of these people who's going to say, yeah, I was Richard III in a previous life.
You never know.
I was probably a peasant or something. You know, that's the thing. Most people fall into a trap of thinking, oh, I was Julius Caesar, or I was, you know, Jesus Christ is a popular one as well. You know, I've heard that many times. And I'm just thinking, you know, by the law of averages, you're probably just going to be like you are now, an average person doing a menial job or a mundane job, just like everyone else, putting food on the table. Why can't you just say that you're probably one of those? Why do you have to say, oh, I was a former prime minister of the country, blah, blah. I was Winston Churchill. You know what I mean? Like, I just, and if a psychic's told them that in the past, or they've had a reading or something, then fair enough. And if they feel an affinity to that, that's also fair enough. But I won't kind of jump on a bandwagon and say this, that, or the other. I know what kind of resonates for me and for my story, and I'm also quite a down-to-earth guy as well. I'm not pretentious, I'm not materialistic. You know, that's who I am, kind of thing, and that reflects in what I do as a YouTuber, but also as what I do, who I am in my personal life, you know, and also my work as well, my full-time job, which is helping people as well. So in a nutshell, that's kind of why I'm down. This is what I say to people: I'm down here on earth to help people.
Yeah.
Whether that be make them laugh in my YouTube videos, whether that's in my job where I help people who are struggling with mental health, get them back into work, or, you know, I help the neighbour cross the road with the shopping. I mean, I'm so helpful. I was at the bank earlier today, and an old lady asked me to help her check her balance, so I pushed her over. That was a ghost.
That was a good one, actually.
Yeah.
That was a big build-up.
Give
for
you
that
that
one.
Were you practicing that one for a while, or did it just come naturally?
No, I picked that one up ages ago, and I keep telling it because it's such a good one. I've got another one about my chin, which I've actually done. I did a short on. I don't know if you want to hear that one as well.
Yeah, go for it.
Go on.
Okay, basically, my chin is so big. Like, my chin is quite big, and when I was a kid, like, my mates used to call me Jimmy Hill, Bruce Forsyth.
Yeah.
I've got a big chin. So my chin is so big that when I was born, the doctor issued 2 birth certificates, one for me and a separate one just for my chin.
Huh.
Yeah. Sorry, you can tell I am nuttier than squirrel poo.
No, I enjoy it, and I'm curious, Neil. Yeah, and because you talked about the energy of the places you go to and the history, and when I was in Egypt, I had a feeling like when I was walking to the temples and through the temples I'm walking where history was made, and and all these figures we read about walked here. I'm walking their path. Do you ever get that feeling on your locations?
I think about that all the time. I always think you're literally walking in the footsteps where kings and queens would have been, where monks, nuns, knights, cooks, townsfolk, villagers. You're literally walking in the footsteps of thousands of years, of generations of people. Sometimes I can pick up on that energy, and yeah, I'm just kind of in awe of it when you think about it, and that's why it's so, like, the Cursed Castle is literally down the road from where I live. I I actually drive to it on my way to Shrewsbury, which is where I work, where the office is. And you can see it from the main road. Sort of, it's kind of a mile off the main road, and it stands there, you know, really proud, and it's quite impressive. And you just think not many people visit that, and you can just go there and go in for free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's got signposts all around it, so it tells you about the history, the Corbett family, and yeah, I'm just completely blown away, and kind of, yeah, I do have a laugh and a joke, but I am very respectful as well, and I think that they get that as well, you know.
Cool.
So what is your favourite era in time? You talked about the different eras before, so what is your favourite?
Actually, my most favourite, or my favouritist one, is the Dark Ages, but not many people know much about it, because when William the Conqueror came over in 1066, they destroyed anything to do with the people before, to get the people, the Anglos and Saxons on their side. So that's what they did. The Tudors did the same when they came to power. They were destroying everything and putting up Tudor rose plaques everywhere. That's what the Romans did it back when they came to Britain. It's kind of the done thing. A conquering nation will come in and stamp their kind of presence on a place. But yeah, I think the Anglo-Saxons, the Dark Ages, kind of the period of King Alfred the Great, that fascinates me. And actually, I asked a historian once, because I read a book on King Alfred and his family. I'd read a book on that, and it said that the name Alfred, or rather Alfred and his extended family, were all really tall. They were blonde, blue eyes, and the people said that they were almost superhuman, and they had enlarged souls. And this was this is what ordinary townsfolk thought of them. And all this information was recorded by pretty much the only people that could write at the time. And that was religious, like monks or bishops or whatever, I don't know what you call them, the religious types. And then I asked a historian, I said, can you tell me about the connection between King Alfred and elves? Because elves are tall, blonde, blue eyes, etc., almost superhuman qualities in strength, speed, etc. And he said the name Alfred literally means advised by elves. When he said that to me, I was like, wow. You know, cool. Yeah. And they also they hailed from the Nordic countries as well. And we all know about the Nordic people, the Nordic ETs. So I think somewhere along the lines, there is some kind of a connection with Nordic people and King Alfred and his kind of people. Yeah.
So I'm curious, Neil, as you're going around and touring all these castles and historic places, are there places that are on your list that you're like, man, I really can't wait to get there. I got to get there soon?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different castles that I want to go to. Leeds Castle, which it's not actually Leeds, it's down south. There's Leap Castle in Ireland, and you probably would have heard of that because there's been all the famous ghost paranormal investigation TV shows have been there because it's really haunted. And that one's said to be haunted by an elemental spirit amongst others. So that'd be pretty cool to go to that one. And in terms of historic buildings and stuff like that, I would love to do the ones, sort of the famous ones in London, like the Tower of London, I visited there, but not as I wasn't doing filming and stuff. I was just a normal, a tourist. I don't think I'd probably just do it anyway and see if I could get away with it. But if you ask someone, certain places don't allow you to do filming. You have to get permission off the National Trust or, English Heritage or CADU, which is the one that runs Wales. So yeah, I do always, if it's a paid one and you have to pay admission to get in to the castle, I'll always ask the members of staff. I'll say, look, I'm a hobbyist YouTuber. Can I do some filming? I'm not monetized, so it's purely for fun, and I won't film members of the public. And 9 times out of 10, they let me do it. There's only been one instance where they said no, and I said that's fair enough, and I just went to another location. It's no big deal. But yeah, I'll tell you actually, Michael, one place that I want to go to, and I didn't mention it. When I went on holiday, we went up to the Northumberland holiday. We went to Lindisfarne, to Holy Island. Now, I would love to spend a couple of days, 2 or 3 days on that island and just, and really get a feel for it, because that was special. I knew that place was special, and I was only a little nipper, but I could feel it,
Yeah, it is pretty amazing, that place.
Yeah.
It's not far from where I used to live, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we nearly got stranded on there, because it's you have to drive at low tide on a causeway, and you drive out onto the island, and if the tide comes in, you've got to wait till it goes back out again. And it was coming in, and Mum was panicking, saying, "Quick, we've got to quick." And we were going, and the waves were crashing over the road in front of the car, and we were like little kids, the faces pressed up against the window, looking out at the sea. And we just about made it. If we'd have left it, a couple more minutes, 5 minutes, that'd have been it.
Yeah.
But I suppose there's worse places to be stranded. I mean, it's beautiful. It is.
And there's loads of people that don't get the timings right, and I've seen loads of people getting stranded there. It's quite funny, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, there was. Yeah, I mean, even when we went, there was a couple of like wrecked cars, sort of washed up on the side, and you think, unlucky. But why would you do it? Why would you try and drive through the sea?
Yeah, I think people just want to try and get home. They think, it's not too deep. I think I'll make it. But then the tide comes in that fast there. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous how fast it comes in. But
it's like if you see the videos of cars driving through flood water, I don't know if I've lost like days watching that stuff. It's just fascinating. You see cars will they'll hammer through at like 40, 50 mile an hour, big barrel waves going over. And then they've absolutely ruined, a brand spanking new Audi, and it's completely roted off. And you're just like, why did you do it? And then a car behind can see the Audi's like broken down, floating in the water. And another car comes behind and does exactly the same thing. You think, what is wrong with people? But yeah, that's Britain for you, I guess. Really, that's why we're such a beautiful country.
Yeah.
I have to say, go ahead, Kell.
No, go on. I'll go after you.
I was going to say, with castles and being in the UK, what's your thoughts about Camelot and the Arthurian castles?
That is a good one. I believe it is true. I believe that King Arthur did exist. I believe someone called King Arthur did exist. Whether he was English or not, I don't know. I think he was most probably Celtic. So that would be he was either from Cornwall or Devon or Welsh or even Irish, because there's connections to King Arthur in each of those locations. There is in England as well, but it's a bit more tenuous. The strongest connections are in Tintagel in Cornwall, which I've visited. That's a really beautiful place. If anyone hasn't visited there, packed full of legend and myth and ghost stories, and it's just a beautiful part of the world as well. And multiple locations in Wales have King Arthur sort of stories, and like North Wales does Oswestry, which is on the England-Welsh border, that has King Arthur legend attached to it. And Ireland as well. It's said that King Arthur is said to have been fatally wounded in a battle, and he was taken to an island surrounded by water to try and heal. Now that is said to be in Somerset, which is the southwest of England, and that's Glastonbury. That is Glastonbury Tor, which, you know, the famous music festival.
Yeah.
That is, and I don't know. It's called something. The actual island where King Arthur is said to have, you know, died is actually, yeah, it's Avalon. That's it. Yeah. And I visited one of the most, I would say, kind of powerful places that I visited was Avebury Stone Circle. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
It's not far. It's not far from Stonehenge, but it's older than Stonehenge, and it's huge. It's massive, and there's multiple stones. And you can go up to the stones. You can touch them. You don't even have to pay to get in. It's completely free. And I was just blown away by the peaceful energy there. And yeah, I would love to go back there. And yeah, do some filming, do some investigation, because you would pick something up, and it wouldn't be bad either. I'd be very surprised if you picked up anything negative. It'd just be someone or some kind of energy trying to communicate. But it was the most beautiful, peaceful energy that I've ever experienced in a location. And as soon as you pulled up in the car, you could feel it. So yeah, that is also, I think they picked that location. I don't know how they knew it, the ancient people, but it's on a major ley line, and the ley line that is on connects Oak Island off the coast of Canada. You know, the famous TV show, The Curse of Oak Island. Yeah, that runs through basically Stonehenge and Avebury, and it goes pretty much all the way to the Vatican in Rome. So the same ley line connects, and it connects. You go all along that ley line, and there's some superior, like, awesome castles in Europe dotted around. And when I say castles, some of the ones in Germany, you look at them and you think, how the heck did they build that? Because it's on the top of a mountain. And you think, how is that possible? And it makes you wonder what kind of technology that they really have thousands of years ago, you know. And you open the whole discussion around who built the pyramids, or how were the pyramids built. And without going into too much detail, I believe from the kind of the research or the talks I've listened to, so I've listened to the mainstream history about it, and I've also listened to sort of alternative theories, if you like. I believe whoever built that did it with sound. They did it with sound technology. And to me, modern, we couldn't build with the technology we have now, all the diggers and cranes and stuff. We could not build the Great Pyramid of Giza.
So are you talking levitation, using sound to levitate the stones?
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
I don't know if you see some of the carvings of like Anubis and the Egyptian gods. They're holding what appears to be like a little triangular cone thing. A lot of them are holding that. That is said to be some kind of like, almost like a sound wand or something, where they could point it at, say, a huge stone and just levitate it and move it away. And here's another little thing connected to that anyone can see. This is something I learned from Michael Tellinger, who's on YouTube. He's basically an ancient archaeologist, and he's his journey has led him into this sort of research on sound and sound frequency. He said when a bee sort of buzzes by, you know, the insect, a bee, and you can hear the buzz, he said it's not the wings, it's not flying because of the wings flapping. What is causing it to fly or actually levitate is the buzzing sound that the wings make. So it's the sound frequency that causes the levitation. And whenever I see a bee now, I think about it and I think actually that does make a lot of sense. Because if you, especially the big bees, if you ever see a really big bee,
big bumbler,
yeah, a big one, before they take off, they have to get the buzzing sound going first, and then they do look like they levitate rather than fly like a bird. If it's So that's an interesting one to think about.
Yeah.
I'll try not to run from them next time. I'll try and watch them.
Oh, you'll be all right, Kell. It's the wasps you've got to watch out for.
Yeah, that's the ones I'm allergic to. You were talking about, obviously, Arthur before. Isn't there some sort of history about Arthur meant to be in the Lake District, somewhere around there as well?
Most probably. There's lots of myths and legends connected with the Lake District. I've been there as a kid and as an adult, and all I can say is lakes, to call something a lake, it has to be natural. So, but obviously we call, like, where you walk the dog, you know, every little town and sort of estate has a lake, and you say, I'm going to the lake. They're man-made, and you'd actually call them a reservoir or something like that. A lake is natural, and there's only very few places in this country where lakes are found. The Lake District is obviously the big one, and there's lots of big, massive lakes. There's one in Shropshire, which is literally in a place called Ellesmere. A mere is a natural lake, and that's a beautiful place. And where these natural lakes are, I sometimes have to go through Ellesmere on my way to Oswestry, which is another place that I work. It's got some very strong energy connected to it. So I wouldn't be surprised every single, because King Arthur's so famous, Scotland's got, speaks about King Arthur. Everybody does, like, because everyone wants the claim to fame. I mean, the town that I live in is called Market Drayton, and its claim to fame, or its kind of bit of historical showpiece, is it's the birthplace of gingerbread. Because I don't know if you've heard of a figure called Clive of India. He was around sort of the late 1700s. He was part of the India sort of trading routes, and he made the ginger spice available to the masses. Prior to then, you had to be very rich to buy ginger spice, and I'm not talking about the Spice Girl. You have to be very rich to buy her as well. I know her husband's not short of a bob or two.
No, he's not.
But yeah, and that is hence why people from Market Drayton are called gingerbread men. So there you go. That's a little interesting nugget of history. Yeah, but I mean, I've made a list here. I don't know if you can see that, and I haven't really talked about any of it. I've talked about everything else.
Well, pick something off your list and we'll talk about that.
Okay, let's try and think of a good one. Yeah, I've actually had, in 2020, I had a UFO sighting, and that was, my brother had seen it, and I was just in the kitchen. He's come running in, and he's going, Neil, I've seen a UFO. And I'm like, I'm skidding on the kitchen floor, bouncing off the walls and the kitchen work surface and that, getting to the back door. I run out, and he points up in the sky and he goes, it's up that way. And I just stood there. I was looking for about 10 seconds, and then this light kind of just showed up and sort of phased in. And then it wasn't round. I couldn't tell you what shape it was. And then it kind of gently faded away. And we both felt the tingles so powerful when that happened. And then you could see it for ages. It was fading out so slowly. You could see it for ages and ages and ages, and then it was gone. And then after it finished, like me and I virtually at the same time, my brother said thank you, because a few days before that happened, he looked at the sky and he told me that he asked for ETs to show themselves to him. And lo and behold, a few days later, they did to him and they did to me as well. And I was just blown away by that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious, Neil, because a lot of people who have experiences like that, they say before they saw it, they had a feeling or like a voice say, look up. Did you get a feeling or kind of?
No, because I was doing something in the kitchen. I think I was actually drying my hands at the time. And then he's just come running in like in massive excitement. His eyes were bulging out of his head. So I didn't get any feeling, but literally in that period, you all know what happened in 2020. It was within that period. And we actually paid to join like a live stream of David Wilcock. I know he can be a controversial figure in the field, but he actually taught me a lot of stuff about the law of one, and space and ETs and loads of different stuff. And during one of those live streams, they started at 11 p.m. because he was in LA, so there's a big time difference. He said, if you can make the live, it's probably better than watching the replay because of the energy frequencies. And he said, if you're a bit tired, go and take a lie down, but still listen to it because your subconscious will take it in. So that's what I did. I lay on the couch and it was playing in the background. And then I wasn't asleep because I could still hear the talk. And then in my mind's eye, instantly I had a close-up of the moon. And it was the most high-definition image I've ever seen in my life. And it wasn't the white moon that we see in the sky. It was actually a dirty, browny, grey colour. Saw that probably for 5 seconds. Then the next scene, I'm standing in amongst a group of people, like literally shoulder to shoulder. They're not aware that I'm there. I'm just kind of looking in on a scene that's happened. There was 2 guards holding what appeared to be weapons, like, I don't know, laser guns or whatever. And they were kind of herding these group of people, to another location. And then all of them, they were wearing these sort of, I think they were grey suits, or they were lightish grey suits with helmets, with visors. Now, I instantly knew that the visors weren't made of glass or anything like that, or plastic. They were light. They were made of light, and they were blue light as well. So the actual visor itself was light, and I just knew this stuff. And then 2 people, a man and a woman, and I couldn't even see you couldn't even really tell if they were men or women because they all looked the same, wearing suits with the helmets. I knew it was a man and a woman. Kind of made a break for it, and then the guy Chuck goes like that, opens his fist to one of the guards, and this little kind of like a little hockey puck thing, like brilliant white light, flies out into the mask and kind of blinds one of the guards, and they make a run for it, and I'm like, wow, I'm really getting into this. It was like watching a movie. And I thought, what's going to happen next? And then instantly, that's the end of the scene. I'm looking at the moon again, the same image. And then I wake up, I'm back in the room, and I'm like, wow, what just happened, you know? And that was, I don't know if it's astral traveling or I couldn't tell you.
So do you think that's got some sort of significance, what's going on in the moon?
Possibly. 100% there's activity up there for sure. Yeah, there's so many various different stories, and like the moon's a whole episode on its own. You know, if you wanted to get into, I'm sure you've seen loads of stories about the moon and stuff. But I do believe that yes, we have in the mainstream media been on the moon. Of course we have. You can say what you want about the moon landings. I think the images shown to the public that were aired on TV, that was done in a Hollywood basement somewhere or a studio. People have been to the moon, and there's way more stuff that we don't know. Like Area 51, look at all the stuff that's going on there that we won't take. There's another facility in Australia that's bigger than Area 51, which is classed as American territory, and not even the Australian Prime Minister is allowed to go in there. Only Americans. Wow. So, the whole ET thing and what is going on, and the actual truth. Yeah, it's huge. But if you want the context of the stuff that I believe, people can say otherwise. People can believe what they want. You know, it's down to each person. I don't hate on people for believing something differently than me. I believe that's the beauty of us and our sort of free will and free choice to be who and what we want to be, and also to like the things we like, or you know, think I believe in that, or I don't believe in that, without getting into arguments and hating on people and the negativity, because that is the dark side of social media, and it is apparent. It's not so much in the castle and sort of history sort of community, but it is apparent in the cryptid and the disclosure community. There's little groups and cliques, and if you're not in that group, or if you're not a YouTuber in that group, you're against them. It's kind of the mentality: if you're not with us, you're against us. And I just think it's a bit childish and sad. And it does nothing to say, if you want the mainstream media, if you want BBC News to say, hello and good evening, this is the 6 o'clock news, I am Neil Warden. And today the Prime Minister has announced that aliens are real, and indeed they do live on the moon. You know, if you really want that to happen, arguing amongst yourselves isn't going to help it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So to all those people, pack it in, you know, do your own thing. If you don't like someone, just don't worry, don't concern yourself with what they're doing. Focus on yourself. Control the things that you can control, which is yourself. And yeah, that's kind of my getting on my soapbox, you know.
And why not?
Well, so Neil, I'm kind of curious with you being in the UK, because I've talked with Kell and Matt about it, is the recent solar eclipse. Did you get to see it, and what were your thoughts about everything that was witnessed?
No. Around that time, before and after the eclipse, I noticed something that I haven't seen before, which was like around the moon. When you can see the moon in the daylight, and around it there was it was almost like a huge halo of light, and it almost looked like a hole going through. It's quite hazy on the outside and a bit clearer inside that halo. I saw that, but at the time of the eclipse it was way too cloudy. I think there was only a few places in this country that you could see it, and I think it was kind of, I'm sure it was like Ireland or the far west, you know. But I do remember talking about eclipses, the eclipse of the year 2000, the millennium.
Mm.
That was another. I was 15. It was August, so I was on the school holidays, and it was in the middle of the day. I remember we were out playing in the street. One of my mates' parents come out just as the eclipse was happening, and it was like a sunny, warm day, and then the eclipse happened. It went all dull, and it was like being in a spooky horror film. You know what I mean? And it went instantly cold, and we were like, "Wow, that is so cool." And then I think it was that same year. I'm not 100%. I'm sure it was the year 2000. The other special thing. Do you remember the comet Hale-Bopp?
Oh yeah,
I do.
That was that was in the sky for like probably about 2-3 weeks, so you could see it. You looked up and like.
Was that now a couple of years before? I'm convinced it might have been.
It might. I know it was around. It was around that time. But yeah, that was incredible. I'm still doing that. I mean, I'll be in my back garden having a cigarette, looking up at. Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you. I'm looking up at the stars, and yeah, I'm just in amazement at them and in awe, and yeah, and anything to do with that. Even though I know nothing in comparison to what some people do. I really don't. I don't need to know it to know that the stuff's real. If you know, if that makes sense. It's hard for me to explain the stuff that I can feel if I look at a star or if I talk to a tree. The feeling, kind of a response feeling that I get back, you know. But like I said to Mike, I said to you guys in the chat that I've always been a sensitive. I consider myself to be a psychic empath. I wouldn't be chatting to dead people and talking to your dead great granddad. Or I'm not that kind of person. I can hear people talking, so I'm clairaudient. I am clairsentient. I can see images like crystal clear in my mind's eye. But it's only what the way I look at it. It's what the universe wants me to see from my journey. So whenever it's for other people, it's normally about me and my kind of life. But when it's been about other people, that they have to be close to me, either family or like a very almost like a loved one outside the family, you know, a really close friend. But it's rare. And yeah, that used to really affect me negatively when I was younger, because it used to freak me out, you know, feeling this stuff, hearing the stuff, seeing it, like in a bad way. And it's only in the past few years that I've really kind of accepted it and properly embraced it and thought, yeah, I can't turn this stuff off, so let's just go with it and keep a positive kind of mind with it. And I'm learning different things and different sort of crystals. Like, for instance, I wear on the other wrist, don't know if you can see that, there's a little sort of crystal bracelet there, which is good. I don't wear it because it looks good, you know.
What is it, Black Obsidian or something?
Yeah, it's that one's hematite. And that's kind of good for, it protects kind of your circulation and stuff like that. And the other one actually is here. I don't know if you can see that one.
Tiger's Eye.
Tiger's Eye.
Tiger's Eye. And that's a really important one for me because it stops my energy intermingling with random people, you know? So, yeah, I like I say, I don't wear it because it looks macho and it's cooked. So I've seen blokes looking at what I was thinking, what is he wearing that for? That's women's stuff. That is, you know, I do get it, honestly don't care. I'm one of these people. I used to care about what other people thought about me when I was a kid, but now I couldn't give, in the nicest possible way, I couldn't give a crap. You know, I just do what I want to do, and the only like this is separate, but this is my advice for anyone. This is like you three here now, and any viewer watching at home. The only person's opinion that matters about you is yours and yours alone. Even your family or your husband or your wife or your mum or dad. Your opinion about you counts more about you. And this is stuff that I've learned as well from people far wiser than me. After this stream, and this is, I don't know how many people's watching, whoever's watching, or if you watch the replay, when you're finished, go and look in the mirror, look at yourself like clear as day in the eyes, and say to yourself in a loud, confident, clear voice, I am worth it. And you see the feeling that you get back after doing that. Because everyone is, you know, and that is the truth. And that would help you through, like, literally on a day-to-day basis. It really will. I do it myself. I do loads of other different little techniques to help me. And one other thing, we mentioned Heidi Pop at the start of the program. I have to give her a massive shout out because she taught me something that really has changed my life, and I do it multiple times a day. I say thank you, universe. I just say it in your head. You don't. A lot of the times I'm looking up to the sky because the universe is that way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you can just say. Sometimes I say it out loud. You know. Like I every single time she said, "Do that. Be grateful. Show gratitude." I get the response like the universe is saying, "You're welcome." You know. And my life has changed profoundly for the better, and it keeps going. Like, doors are opening for me in work, in my personal life, that I'm just like, no way. And because I'm choosing to walk a certain path and doing things by helping others, service to others is a massive one. You know, that's not to say you can't, you know, look out for yourself. In order to help other people, you've got to help yourself first. So never sell yourself short. You know, you are your biggest kind of supporter. You know what I mean? But let's think about other people, you know, and be kind. You know, it doesn't cost you a penny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for pointing that out, Neil, because I always took the opinion of, if I took care of myself first to help others, I was being selfish. And it was like quite the opposite. It's okay to take care of yourself first to help others.
Yeah, 100%. If you didn't take care of yourself now, for instance, how you're not going to be in any fit state to help other people. But in the same breath, you can't, like with everything in life, it's about a balance. So if you help too many people, you're going to kind of neglect yourself and go the other way. So you've got to find what works for you. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the easiest one for me is, you know, holding a door open for someone. That's kind of vanishing from our sort of society now, that I've noticed. But I'll do it, you know, regardless of if that offends someone. I will hold the door open, whether you're a man or a woman, just out of politeness, you know. Sometimes you get a thank you, sometimes, you know, you wouldn't, but it doesn't matter. I'm not doing it to get a response. It's the intention behind it. Was I'm helping regardless. I'm not helping so I can get a thank you or, oh, cheers, Neil. You don't do it for that reason. You do it just because you chose to do it, you know?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Cheers.
Matt, you got any more questions?
I don't know at the moment. Yeah, probably. I can't think of anything.
Well, how long have we been going? What time are we? Oh wow. Yeah, we've done 15. That's absolutely flown by for me. I don't know about you guys, but
definitely has. It's interesting.
So I'd love to come on and do another show if you'd have me on, because I've got so much more stuff to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got like loads of questions as well to ask you. So
fire away. Yeah, read out the people and fire away, and I'll say hi to anyone because I can't see the chat. So I do apologise if people have been saying hi.
That's okay. We've been putting it on the bottom for you.
Oh, cheers.
Just to let you know, if you're looking for a decent crystal that will protect you as well, obviously you've got your tiger's eye. Black tourmaline's usually a good one, or obsidian as well. That's quite good. And Matt wears crystals as well, so you're not the only one.
Yeah.
And Michael. See?
Crystal brothers.
You're doing it as well. Look. That's what it is.
That's what that is.
Yeah, Michael was messaging us obviously before asking us what that was. I was like, I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, so if you do that,
I'm trying to work out what it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
What about if you do that?
Yeah, it does that as well.
Oh no, does it do the side one? Doesn't do the side one.
And there was something with balloons when you did something like that. I don't know whether it's still. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but how come it doesn't do it for mine? I guess
you're probably not an Apple.
Neil's on a Mac, aren't you?
I'm on a. Yeah, I've got the
Mac.
Apple. Yeah.
Oh.
It's an Apple.
Cool.
Yeah, it was like I'm like watching it. I'm like, what are these thumbs up?
Kell knew what it was. I was trying to play the
Yes.
I'm just going to be doing this for the whole time now. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's like bringing a party to the show.
So jealous.
I'm so popular. Look at all the balloons. People are celebrating me.
But we're definitely going to have to get you back on.
Yeah, I'd love to. Any time, you know.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed myself. And you guys are amazing as well, by the way. So yeah, I've literally only spoke to Kell and you, Matt, probably yesterday, wasn't it, for the first time on Messenger.
Yeah.
But it's like I've known you for a lot longer than that, if that makes sense.
Well,
we've met before, sort of thing.
It's funny you should say that because I'm going to say it now, and I'm sure Kell thought of it earlier on when you were talking about Richard III. Kell's always thought that I was Edward IV in a past life, and she was Elizabeth Woodville. So you could be a brother from another life.
So connected in some way in the medieval period. Yeah.
Brothers, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I've always been obsessed with the War of the Roses as well. So obviously, it's been I don't know why. It's just like Elizabeth Woodville just seems so like as though I know her personally. So
and the funny thing is, Kell's recently been doing, and Michael has been doing it as well. I suppose Michael is the one we ultimately need to thank.
Yeah.
For this. Family trees, tracing family trees. And it turns out that I'm a direct blood relation to Elizabeth Woodville.
No, Edward IV and Elizabeth Woodville.
Sorry, Edward. Yeah.
The 16th great grandparents.
Yeah.
So there is scientific truth to it, as well as your kind of feeling or a sense of a knowing.
Yeah.
You have got the evidence to back it up as well.
And that's
so that is
when Kell and me first started talking, she had this thing about Edward IV and Elizabeth Woodville, and she was, weren't you? I mean, go on, you tell the story. Yeah,
just I'm sensitive. I've always have been, and I don't know why. Just for some reason, Matt I felt as though he was Edward IV for some strange reason. So yeah.
Wow.
And then I've Michael done my family history, and it turns out that I'm the 22nd great granddaughter of Robert the Bruce. So
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah,
and
yeah.
And
there's a funny twist to that too. Neil is
God,
Robert the
there we
Bruce
go.
murdered one of my relatives.
Oh no.
That's like, so we joke about that a couple times on shows.
Is that the Con the Red or something?
Comrin the Red?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Michael, if you come over, you know, history might repeat itself.
So that's probably why I feel such an affinity with Richard III, or if I go deep enough in my family tree, I've probably got a connection to him, or you know, the lords or the people surrounding that, because there was a lot of people involved, like royalty and etc. So that's incredible. You saying that Edward IV, Elizabeth, and the Wars of the Roses as well.
Yeah,
and there's a battle literally up the road from me, which was fought. I'm sure was there a lady called Margaret Beaufort?
Yes, that was Henry Henry VII's mother.
That's it, and she was trying to, like, you know, rally the troops. There was actually a battle just up the road from me. What's the name of it? It's literally just outside Market Drayton. And all that's there, you can go and visit. The only thing there is a stone cross just to commemorate, because it was a massacre, you know. And Margaret Beaufort was up sort of on the tree line looking down from a safe place. Her side lost, and then she fled because she was going to get captured. But that's another place I haven't visited yet, but I will do, because and there's another historic Wars of the Roses just down the road from me called the Battle of Shrewsbury.
Yeah,
and that is the Two Henrys. There's pubs around the area called the Two Henrys. You've got, is it Henry IV and Henry Hotspur or Henry Percy? And basically, it was Henry Percy was the Lord of the North. He was fighting Scotland. He was a successful sort of warrior. He was, if you like, he was like in the Game of Thrones. They had the King of the North. That was him.
He was I think, at Duke of Northumberland.
Yeah, and he kind of got a bit too big for his boots and a bit too cocky, and he challenged for the actual throne. And he should have won by all accounts, because I think he had more numbers. But he wasn't helped by the Welsh. They didn't show up, and that is the reason. The battle went on all day, and thousands, probably about 5,000 people perished. And they actually built, Henry, who won, he ordered they build a church there. So the church is from, like, I don't know when it's from. It's roughly 1410. It's the early 1400s. They built the church, and there's a mass grave there. And I actually made some videos. There's videos of that on my YouTube. And that is a fascinating place as well. So that, like you say, you're connected to the Wars of the Roses. I know I am in some way. I'm always drawn to it. I always end up going to places where the Wars of the Roses have taken place. So, and it keeps cropping up since I was a kid into my adulthood. It keeps happening. So
yeah.
It
is for me and Matt as well. We're actually getting married July, but at Sudley Castle, the place where Catherine paused.
Yeah, congratulations. Let's get the balloons going.
Cheers.
There you go.
Come on,
the party balloons.
So apparently Richard, Edward and Elizabeth and everybody used to go there as well.
Oh wow. So that's going to be a special day.
Yeah,
you know,
plus it's haunted.
Really. So you've got your wedding, and then in the night you can do some paranormal investigating.
Michael wants to go live on the night.
Yeah, maybe you could live stream your wedding. That'd be ace.
Well, there's
we
another
actually were
twist.
joking about it because I have a show that I do on Tuesday nights, and the wedding is a Tuesday. So I was like, maybe I should use my show to live stream the.
Yeah.
You may as well. That'd be so cool.
Well, another thing is we've got it as the theme. It's medieval theme, so we're all dressed up in this medieval clothes.
Well, you know what I'd go as if I was going. I'd go as a jester.
I knew you were going to say that. Knew that.
Yeah. I'd be the court jester.
You know, I just had a thought pop in my head as we're talking about the War of the Roses. The scene in Alice in Wonderland with the Queen, of Hearts, wanting the flowers red, but they were white. Do you think that's an homage that Lewis Carroll made to the War of the Roses?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah.
It probably is. There was always, famous cartoons, films. There's always hidden little symbols and stuff like that, which have, nods to history or historical events. But yeah, I've never really thought about it like that. But yeah, now you say it, of course.
Yeah, because they were
most
white.
Probably is.
And they were like, if the Queen sees these, we're dead. So they're quickly painting them red. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like the War of the Roses.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true. Anyway, I've just noticed the time we're way over, so we're going to have to leave it there for this time, but we'll definitely be having you back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Any time, literally. Yeah, you guys are awesome. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. Yeah, thank you for having me on. Thank you for being brave enough to have me on, because everyone except Heidi Pop and Michael, everyone else is too scared because they think they'll get cancelled.
Well,
I've behaved myself.
One more joke before you go.
One more joke.
Yeah,
okay.
Go on.
I'll think of a paranormal joke. And I'm actually I told this one to you guys last night.
That's probably a bit tongue in cheek for going live. That one, maybe.
Oh, so you don't want me to do that one? I have done it. I've done it on my chart. Okay, let me think of another. I'll think of a cleaner joke.
It's fine.
Okay. I'll think of.
Let's go for it. So let's go for it.
Yeah, go for it. I'm about that.
Okay, and then I'll say the joke. Okay, and then just end the stream. Just okay. You ready? So get your finger on the button.
Finger on the button, Michael.
Yeah. But before we've got a chance to laugh, I'll say the punchline, and that's it. Bye. Done. Okay.
Okay.
Why don't witches wear underwear?
I don't know.
To get a better grip.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Oh gosh.
So you'll be all right with that one. There's no. It was below the belt, but I think you'd be safe.
Yeah, we will. We've had worse.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm sure we have.
I've got way worse than that, but no, I won't. I won't besmirch your channel. Don't worry.
It's okay.
Oh, it survived worse.
Well, anyway, we're gonna have to leave it there, and we'll get you back on. So, and I just want to say thanks to everybody out there who's watching. Please share if you can, and like whatever you've got to do.
Hit that thumbs up, people.
Get one of the thumbs
we can't do it. It doesn't work for us.
I can.
Michael Bay left out.
Let's get a few more balloons going to finish the show.
So anyway, Michael, I'll let you close up.
So thank you to all that were watching, and thank you, Neil, for coming on, and join us next week as we have Karen Wilkinson on, and wherever you are in the world, make it a great day. Fill it with love and joy, and I'm going to leave it at that. I was going to try it
He's getting distracted by all the balloons.
Yeah.
Final words. Yeah.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.